attention to me. I just wasn't ready to cut her.
So yeah, what's going on?
Wait, do we introduce ourselves?
No, I'm gonna just say what y'all doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Say Brill and
West.
yeah,
Yeah.
James.
Oh, Easy's
Here
here.
with Brian and James. They've been working on the You recording right now?
Brian and James.
No, but we sitting here, got Brill, West working on the music for the film, so y'all could take us through like the process and y'all choices that y'all making. So
Well, yeah, go. You can start.
Yeah. I mean, at first we watched. I mean, we were on the short, but we watched it several times, and we were trying to figure out what is the tone, what kind of sound can really accentuate everything that's going on screen. And so then we kind of went through Omnisphere, which is a great plugin that has many sounds. And I had a bunch that was already favorited. We kind of just went through a bunch of those, and we'd be like, yep, save that one, boom, put it in. Found probably 10. And then there was one pack that I was like, oh, dude. I was like, there's this one Signal. And you were like, oh, yeah. And I was like, I can't find it. And you're like, oh, it's in Contact.
I think that one lives in Contact.
Yeah. I was like, boom, there it is. And then as soon as we put on Signal, it was like, oh, yeah, this is...
For those that don't know, too, what Wes is talking about are these virtual instruments here. So when Wes is talking about trying to create a palette, we watched it through and tried to get an idea of what's a theme here. And I think there's a lot that goes on with a disconnect, whether it's through communication, Mike and Maria, there's a disconnect between what Mike wants and thinks and what Maria wants and thinks, and then there's the disconnect through the phone calls. There's a lot of phone call back and forth. So there's this electricity and static and tension and just distortion. I feel overall that kind of lives or falls within that theme. So creating the palette first was trying to find sounds that fit within that theme that we were going for. And West has so many different sounds, and Signal's just one of them. I mean, West, if you want to, we can maybe make a new track and then just go through a couple sounds on Signal and Spitfire. These are different instruments that you can get, and I mean, you could have just a regular piano, or you can do a bunch of different things or effects to it.
So this was a sound that actually was from the
or the beat,
the alley one, the season finale. So we threw this in there as a little callback, which was really cool. But this is just one of many sounds. Yeah, Signal has, I mean... And then you can go in and automate certain parameters.
Even just that, where you can take the high end in that modulation out where it's not pulsating. You can build a lot of tension just that by doing different things with the one sound that you have, rather than trying to layer in 50,000 different sounds. It's really trying to be more deliberate about the emotion that you're trying to display or carry over.
Yeah.
So we ended up automating some of those things to these knobs so that as we're playing, we can kind of play the effects as well.
We like the sort of atmospheric drone elements too, and that's what we're gonna really go through and like layer everywhere. Just like this one's called foreboding. It's like the most perfect word that we're looking for, but just has like these really nice like textural like undertones that can be played under conversations and bleed into like actual like the music and whatnot.
Brittany, I've been wanting to leave you for a long time.
Your first time scoring, ain't it?
Yeah. West is doing a lot of like, we like kind of made a palette of different sounds and then keeping each other within the rails, just trying to like add things.
We like automated the sound, like sounding like
Look,
video.
maybe I know you mad at me,
It's
but
opening up the sounds
just
like
let me
getting
explain everything. You don't know it was
like
nothing.
brighter and more high end or top end.
we were like manually doing it with like these knobs too.
Yeah. Different rhythms.
And then you gotta choose. You gotta just like, I mean, there's thousands of sounds, you know?
And I think the reason it helps too to have these different kinds of instruments is when you're scoring, one thing I've learned is like rather than making music tends to be very like linear as far as like tempo goes. And when you're trying to make a song, you're trying to like stay true to maybe one specific tempo or rhythm, but like the feeling of a movie and a film or like the movement just changes so frequently that trying to create something to a grid is a lot more difficult, and having instruments that already have a pulse or a rhythm allow you, I think, to get those ideas out quickly without having to be, you know, a really well-trained classical like musician, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely a different approach to making music.
We're like the new Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
Which we discovered on The Dummy.
Right.
Go watch that one. But we just like bounce off of each other. Like it's crazy. It's like, oh yeah, like you started playing like these notes, and then I was like, oh well, you know, I'll start like closing the sound and do this, and then you're like, oh, you started hitting these other, like we just created a flow.
Yeah. And then,
Wow.
I mean, here and there you'll hit like roadblocks too, where like you might try and find a sound or a feeling that you're just sifting through sounds and instruments to try and find something that you're not going to find because it might be like something in the room or like it could be your voice. So we ended up like, I mean, from, if you were to just sit here and just listen to me recording this, it sounds really weird. But to try and get a feel or a vibe, like this was, you know, with no effects, we'll just solo this. We'll take this fade out because we're going to need to redo this again anyways, but turn that up. Doesn't seem like much. But we started throwing some delays, reverb, and you put it in with everything.
Maybe me and you can run away together.
Just starts to make this
leave her
really
here
weird. What's going on? And I think it adds some. It kind of brings back in that human element.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the disconnect between the people through technology. I don't know. Now it sounds like I'm talking out of my ass. But.
No, you explained it good.
Yeah, that's great.
Reminds me of Dune, and the score in that is insane. Hans Zimmer, it's like my favorite composer, or just won an Oscar, and I actually watched like his Vanity Fair video today. That was the breakdown of how they made like the music for it, and they had like a singer literally do what we're doing right now.
That's
and
cool.
you just like instinctively like were like, oh, let's do it.
It's cool that you say that because when I started doing this, like last week, and I showed what I had to Easy. Easy pulled up the Dune soundtrack and was like, yo, like this. So to like subconsciously channel what you were saying and then have Wes like pick up on it without me even saying anything, I was like, oh, okay.
Me and Wes do
go.
that.
Yeah.
Being in the same room.
Just sync, we're all synced up.
Yeah, and then
It's
I
crazy.
think another cool thing is, like if you were to look at this too, because I mean we've started and we've still got a lot of work to do on it, but like through cycling through sounds, we found a sound and immediately we were like, go to this section.
Yeah.
'Cause it was like one sound just like threw you right in, like, oh, I could hear where that sound would fall in, and I think kind of leaning into that and not going against like, well, let's get the beginning and let's write the story front to back, like
Yeah.
don't always approach it that way. Because then if anything, having this here is going to make it easier for those other parts to be like, oh, well, it goes into here.
Right. Because it can build up to this moment. This is the climax, you know, so.
And then the sound palette, I think, is another key thing that I think sometimes I get too excited trying to lay things down that I end up getting in my own way by not having sounds ready to go, because I might find something that I really like, and then if I don't have another instrument to just start like fiddling or seeing how different things work, it might just take me completely out of that flow. So where it might seem like, you know, you're not getting the project started or you're wasting time looking through sounds, it's the same thing that a painter would do with their medium. Like, you're gonna, you know, draw a picture with just a pencil, like you'll definitely get somewhere. But when you start adding in, you know, watercolor, pastels, you know, different kinds of paints, and then all the different colors of those mediums, like that's where I think when you have all of those things at your disposal, it's really easy to get a lot more creative, a lot faster, and feel more free. It's just like, yeah, just press record and we'll see what we get. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's cool.
When do you want me to start recording? You guys still working it out?
Yeah, you can start. You can start now.
All right, yeah, that's what
You
we'll.
can start
That's how we'll do it.
Okay.
All right, cool. Now you know what you're gonna say. At least.
And then we'll go to easy.
That'd be
Easy,
so
make sure
fun.
you say that thing again. Makes me think of Stranger Things. That sounds.
So this is what I'll do. I'll just put the beat and the vocals on the drive, and I'll put like the clips of B-frames,
Okay.
like dialogue audio.
Cool.
And clip, because that'll definitely add for that part.
Cool.
Do y'all need anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you just let me explain everything, you'll know it was nothing. I love you.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. See, I knew you loved me.
Where's Brittany? What did you do?
Brittany is.
You better not hurt her.
Look, Mike, I'm not a murderer. Yet.
Yeah, I like that single note there, or like going between the two.
Mike, I'm not a murderer. Yet. Get here now. Now, on the phone, you said you love me